Salutations to one and all. First of all, I welcome you all in this session on National Education Policy, commonly called NEP 2020. NEP, which is considered as a landmark document in the education system, needs to be understood, absorbed, and analyzed before its effective implementation by parents as well, because they are also important stakeholders in a child's holistic development. So, it's very important that they are made familiar with the major recommendations of policy, and hence, this session is kept for you all. The policy is revolutionary in nature, has come after 34 years. It tries to cater to all the needs, demands, and challenges which a 21st century youth needs to deal with. So let's begin with Gandhi's idea of education. He said, by education, I mean an all round development of a child. The education must draw best in every child. It must develop his or her all faculties, be it body, mind, or spirit. The NEP aims to fulfill this vision of Gandhiji by developing creative and critical thinking of all learners. So, first of all, let's have a look at the vision of the policy. The policy aims to develop an education system that is deeply rooted in Indian ethos. We all want, you know, as educationists, as teachers, as guardians, as parents, that the child should have love for their country in their heart. They should have feeling of patriotism. So the policy aims to develop such curriculum and pedagogy that helps in instilling this feeling. Not only this, the child must develop a sense of respect towards fundamental duties and the Constitution of India. They should have a deep bond with the country. So, NEP aims to develop a sense of pride and respect for the country. Learners should understand the meaning of words like human rights, which are so important. They should know what sustainable development is and why it is important. They should know what it is like to be a global citizen. You know, all these are 21st century skills that needs to be imbibed by each and every child. Now, let's move on to the key principles of NEP. Let's first talk about respect for diversity. You all know India is a land of so many states, so many cultures, so many languages. The policy aims that the curriculum should reflect this multiculturalism. Further, equity and inclusion should be the cornerstone of all educational decisions. When we say equity, we say that every child should be able to get the best education. And when we talk about inclusion, we focus that all should play a role in transforming the system. In this entire process, the community needs to participate. It's need to felicitate and encourage this entire process. And lastly, obviously, we cannot ignore the role of technology. You all know, for developing global citizens, data scientists, for removing language barriers, or we talk about artificial intelligence or robotics, in all, technology plays a crucial role. The emphasis on research, hands on experience, skill development, practical learning, all are being stressed in this policy. So, in nutshell, we can say that NEP tries to develop a more practical, a critical, skill and vocational based education system, a more flexible approach with multiple entry and exit points, with more choices for students, a more continuous, comprehensive, and stress free system of review, all linking to Indian culture and respecting its diversity, changing mindsets, and developing a global vision. So, let's begin all this by understanding this new academic structure. The NEP replaces the existing plus 2 system with new 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 system. Now, to understand it better, I hand over this session to our next speaker, Ms. Ritu Quatra. Thank you.
Thank you, Renu ma'am. As India's new National Education Policy 2020 was approved on July 29, it is set to replace the 10 plus 2 schooling system in India with a new 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 system. But this does not mean that the 10 plus 2 system will become obsolete. The new schooling system only brings 3 years of kindergarten classes or play schools under the ambit of formal education. This system includes 4 stages. First stage is the foundational stage for ages 3 to 8 years. This category earlier had children from classes nursery, KG and prep, known as pre-primary school. The NEP 2020 has now included classes 1 and 2 also in the foundational stage. Children between the age groups of 3 years to 8 years will be part of the foundational stage under ECCE, Early Childhood Care and Education. This shall be followed in all public as well as private schools. NCERT will develop a national curricular and pedagogical framework for early childhood care and education for children up to the age of 8. Foundational literacy and numeracy are basic foundational requirements for learning in class 3 upwards. Early childhood care and education curriculum includes all aspects of care, health, nutrition, play, and early learning, which will help the student develop better literacy and numeracy. Students will be observed on the basis of learning outcomes that they are able to achieve. This requires daily observations in class. The main focus will be on good behavior, courtesy, ethics, personal and public hygiene or cleanliness, and the focus on teamwork and cooperation. Second stage is 3 years of preparatory stage for ages 8 to 11 years and go for classes 3 to 5. The more emphasis is on reading, writing, and speaking. The focus in the preparatory stage will remain on language development and numeracy skills. Here, the method of teaching and learning would be play and activity-based and also include classroom interactions and the element of discovery. The third stage is 3 years of middle stage for ages 11 to 14 years, and this will go for classes 6 to 8. This stage of school education will focus on critical learning objectives, which is a big shift from the rote learning methods used in our education system for years. This stage will work on experiential learning in the sciences, mathematics, arts, social sciences, and humanities. Fourth stage is 4 years of secondary stage for ages 14 to 18 years and includes classes 9 to 12. And it covers 2 phases, classes 9 and 10 and classes 11 and 12. The main change in these classes is the shift to a system where students will have access to a variety of subject combinations that they can choose as per their skills and interest areas instead of being strictly divided into arts, commerce, and science categories. This stage will again push for greater critical thinking and flexibility in the thought process. Next slide, please. A very first service requirement and culture in school includes ensuring decent and pleasant service conditions at schools. Adequate and safe infrastructure, including working toilets, clean drinking water, clean and attractive spaces conducive to learning, electricity, computing devices, and the internet, library, and sports and recreational resources will be important to provide to all schools in order to ensure that teachers and students, including children of all genders and children with disabilities, receive a safe, non-violent, inclusive, and effective learning environment and are comfortable and inspired to teach and learn and adopt innovative formats such as school complexes, rationalization of schools for effective school governance, resource sharing, and community building. The creation of school complexes, for example, would go a long way towards building vibrant teacher communities. In collaboration with parents and other key local stakeholders, teachers will also be more involved in the governance of schools or school complexes, including members of the school management committees or school complex management committees. Now, the next slide. It is well understood that young children learn and grasp non-trivial concepts more quickly in their home language or mother tongue. Wherever possible, the medium of instruction until at least grade 5, but preferably till grade 8 and beyond, will be the home language, mother tongue, or local language. Thereafter, the home or local language shall continue to be taught as a language wherever possible. This will be followed by both public and private schools. High quality textbooks, including in science, will be made available in home languages. In cases where home language textbook material is not available, the language of the transaction between teachers and students will still remain the home language wherever possible. Students whose medium of instruction is the local or home language will begin to learn science and mathematics in grade 6, so that by the end of grade 9, they can speak about science and other subjects both in their home language and English. The home or local language or the second Indian language will be enhanced with the medium of an analysis of uplifting literature from the Indian subcontinent, ancient to modern, and by authors from all walks of life, as well as through other arts, such as by playing and discussing music or film excerpts or engaging in theater in these languages. The next slide shows that during early childhood years, vital development in emotional control, motor, cognitive, language, and number skills occur systematically. Play-based and discovery-based learning in the formative years develop a sense of teamwork and collaboration, ethics, and etiquette. Early childhood education develops curiosity, relationship with nature, sense of art, craft, and music. With fun learning, children recognizes colors, shapes, alphabets, and numbers. In the next slide, we see the temporal lobe development. As you can see in this slide, it is shown the temporal lobe development of brain that starts right from the earlier years of life. Over 85% of a child's cumulative brain development occurs prior to the age of 6, indicating the critical importance of appropriate care and stimulation of the brain in the early years to ensure healthy brain development and growth. Early childhood, defined as the years from birth to age 8, is a critical period that sets the stage for a child's growth. Research from neurobiology and cognitive development suggests that 90% of brain development occurs in the first 6 years of life, and it has to be enhanced by engaging students in different activities. Now I hand over to the next speaker, Ms. Sunaina Makani.
Thank you, Ritu ma'am. During grade 6 to 8, as per NEP 2020, there will be more focus on vocational studies in school level. Every child to learn at least one vocation and exposed to several more. It includes survey and hand-on experience of sampling of important vocational crafts such as carpentry, electric work, mental work, gardening, pottery, etc., as decided by states and local communities. A 10-day bagless period during grade 6 to 8 to intern with local vocational experts such as carpenter, gardeners, potters, artists, etc. NEP suggests bagless days will encourage throughout the year for various types of enrichment activities involving arts, quizzes, sports, and vocational crafts. Vocational courses through online mode will be made available, and vocational courses will also be offered through open and distance learning mode. The target is that by 2025, at least 50% of learners through the school and higher education system shall have exposure to vocational education. So the 21st century classrooms will encourage problem solving, collaboration, digital literacy, scientific temperament, ethics, social equality, health and fitness, creativity, critical thinking, communication among children. New education policy 2020 encourages holistic education through sports and play. This policy is a welcome change at the time when the health, happiness, and immunity of children are becoming increasingly important due to pandemic. Sports to be included as integral part of the curriculum under national education policy, not as extracurricular activity. NEP acknowledges sports to be equally important as any other subject like English or science. Through play, children can develop physically, mentally, and socially. This will contribute positively to academic outcomes, classroom behavior, and attendance level. Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi announced to establish a National Assessment Center PARAK for the overall improvement in evaluation system under NEP 2020. PARAK stands for Performance Assessment Review and Analysis of Knowledge for Holistic Development. The role of assessments in education is finally getting the attention it deserves, as evidenced by National Education Policy 2020 by emphasizing the need to redesign progress cards and board exams. It encourages testing core competencies to reduce academic pressure and the need for coaching classes. During the pandemic, Indian education system went through a phase of realization and learning when coronavirus disease started to spread. Over 260 million students, the second largest school going population in the world, went under lockdown. To continue teaching, education institutes hacked their way to find a quick solution to the crisis. Schools and universities were forced to adapt online learning, leaving behind classroom education. This unplanned, sudden shift with no training, insufficient bandwidth, and lack of facilities to attend online classes felt by students highlighted the digital divide in the country. The new policy addresses these issues and lays a foundation to focus on developing digital infrastructure. So, the policy aims to make online learning, virtual classrooms accessible to every student in the country. Vanna ma'am, please continue.
Thank you, ma'am. You have heard you have heard about the new school education pattern. For college education also, the national education policy has given very flexible approach to students. Under this, the students are given multiple exit options for undergraduate programs. During graduation, if a child wants to leave after first year, he will be awarded with a certificate. After second year, if the child leaves, then he gets an advanced diploma certificate. After third year, he gets a bachelor's degree, and after the fourth year, he gets a bachelor's research degree. That means a child's effort and hard work will be valued every year. Now, let us compare the new policy to the existing one. The key differences are, if we talk about the streams, in the present policy, there are three main streams which a student has to choose from: science, commerce, and arts. But in the new system, no hard separation of streams is there. A student can choose his stream according to his her interest or desire. Students will be free to take subjects of their own interest in class 11. A student of economics or geography can also study physics. Now, if we talk about the pedagogical structure, presently we have 10 plus 2 plus 3 system, but in the new policy, we will have 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 system. Now, if we talk about the board exams, in the present system, the board exams are based on memorizing facts and they are held once a year. But in the new system, they will be based on the core competencies of the students, and the students will be allowed to take exams twice a year. That means it will be semester system of examination. Now, if we talk about next, the award of degree in graduation, after completion of 3 or 4 years, the degree is provided to the students. But in the new system, multiple exit options with certificate after 1 year and diploma after 2 years are provided. If we talk about the vocational education, it was nil in the present system, but in the new system, vocational education from 6th class with internships will be provided. Now, the mark sheet scoring in the present system was also based on the marks obtained in the exam, but in the new system, it will be a 360-degree performance evaluation. Also, we have seen the children trying very hard for the multiple entrance tests in the present system. Like for the medical, the children have to appear for NEET, for engineering, JEE, and there are many more types of examinations in which the children have to appear. But in the new system, it will be a single entrance test. That means a common entrance examination will be conducted for admission to all colleges. It will be like SAT, standardized aptitude test. The difficulty level or syllabus will be unaffected by the stream of courses offered. Now, on what main objectives the schools have to focus in the new policy? Focus on foundational skills in lower grades, map curriculum across grades and subjects with different learning outcomes. Focus on practical and application-based learning, experiential learning, and enhancing creative and critical thinking skills of students. Enable teachers to design such experiential and application-based activities which enhance the creative and critical thinking skills and other desired skills among the students. Stress on importance of foundational skills of literacy and numeracy. Transform teaching strategies or adopt innovative teaching strategies to develop, strengthen, and achieve these foundational skills by grade 3. Focus at an early age on reading, writing, and learning of basic mathematical concepts. Bring changes in classroom teaching in alignment with the NEP 2020. Define, adapt, adopt learning outcomes, and link assessments with the defined learning outcomes. Adopt experiential learning pedagogies to achieve the defined learning outcomes. Integrate subjects and technology to create a holistic learning experience for students. Integrate the component of digital literacy, scientific temper, and computational thinking. Lesson plans grounded in real life situations and plan to promote multilingualism. Identify and nurture gifted students and plan for CWSN and SEDGs, socially, emotionally disadvantaged groups of students. Now, I would like to summarize the objectives of the new education policy. These are to include universal access to education, retention of all children in school until the secondary level, incorporation of pre-primary schools, a multilingual approach to teaching, removal of rigid demarcation between subjects. So, in the end, I would like to say that the new education policy 2020 is a good policy as it aims at making the education system holistic, flexible, multidisciplinary, and aligned to the needs of the 21st century. It will be a positive step towards nation building and growth, and also it strives to achieve a 100% gross enrollment ratio by 2020. So let us all, teachers, students, and parents, welcome this journey of education with zeal, enthusiasm, and to transform India into a knowledge superpower. Thank you.